Welcome, Chip McCann. How are you?
I'm great, Jim. Thanks for having me today.
It is great to have you here on the Beach Money Podcast. If you're on Beach Money with me,
Mhm.
Jim Klauck, you must be a good friend of Jordan Adler's. He vets everybody before he introduces them to me to have on his podcast. So we're going to start off by me asking you how you met Jordan and what your relationship means um, to you with Jordan. And I can imagine the story because I hear it all the time. And then we're going to get into what you do and why you do it and how you decided to do it and your background, which gives you credentials to do what you do.
Right.
It's a fascinating model. I can't wait to get into that. But let's start with your relationship with Jordan.
Okay. So I walked into a B&I meeting 7 years ago.
Mhm.
There was about 100 people in this meeting. And, people that don't know B&I, basically it's a networking group of like-minded business entrepreneurs. And so out of this group of 100, Jordan was one of the founding members of our group there
Mhm.
that day. Of course, with 100 people there, it takes you a few weeks to finally meet everyone. And the thing that fascinated me about Jordan, because I knew nothing about him, there was no intro into him, but whenever he would talk or when I'd hear him talk, the fact that he was flying in from Las Vegas to attend this meeting in Phoenix was very interesting to me. I'm like, what makes a man do this, right? Why would someone fly in from Vegas
Mhm.
every single week to attend this 1 hour meeting? And so I was intrigued. And so I decided I need to get to know this man. And when I found out he was doing send out cards was just unbelievable to me, and the life that he was allowed to live by doing send out cards. He's very charismatic, right? Jordan, he's always smiling. I don't think I've ever not seen a smile on Jordan's face. He's very charismatic. He always has the best stories, right? He always
Mhm.
has the best story
Always.
when you talk to him about his past, right? You hear his past, you hear all the stories that what got him into where he is now, right? And there's some failure there, right? Which is
Mm.
interesting. That's I think a lot of people quit whenever they get kicked down one time.
It's a hard business, tough business, network marketing, tough.
Exactly. So yeah, so you know, since then, Jordan and I have reached out. We've found a lot of people that we've networked with before and found some commonality there. So Jordan's just one of those keepers. Whenever you find him in your relationship bubble, right? He's one of
Mhm.
those guys that you just always want to be there because he's fun to hang out with. He's interesting,
Yeah.
and he's kind of a world traveler. So you get to hear all the great stories.
Oh gosh, I've traveled with him. He's been to my ranch here in Texas. We've been on a cruise together for a week for a conference,
You
and I've gotten to know him as well. You know, when I say it's a tough business in network marketing, it is, but when you have Jordan on your side, it's a lot easier. He went through so many things and failed so many times. He talks about it all the time.
Yes, he
And
does.
now he's worth so much to people. And if you're interested, for the people out there who are listening and watching this, interested in learning more about how you can be a player in that industry, Jordan is someone you should definitely contact.
Right. I completely agree. He's
Yeah.
one of those unicorns that are out there when you find you got to hang on to.
He has so many contacts and he's relatively easy to get a hold of. Some people who are at his level aren't that accessible.
Correct.
It seems like he's pretty accessible. He's accessible to me.
Right.
Um, you see him every week apparently at
Yep.
BNI. But I know he has thousands and thousands of contacts and friends, which is very, very hard to maintain, but he does a good job of it. There's studies out there that say it's really hard for a human to have that many contacts and be that close. I think it's like anything over 200 is very difficult for us to manage, mentally. And, of course he does it. Newly One is your company, correct?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hear. the transition from the corporate world, your story is similar to mine, except I left before you. I was 37 when I got out of it. We have similar stories in that, and I think everybody does. By the time they're 50, they're like, why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I, lose so much time and have the corporate world drain me of my life? So why don't you start with where you were and how you got out, why you got out, how you got to Arizona, and how you started building a great business.
Right, exactly. So I was one of those guys that, back in the late 70s, early 80s, you went to work for one company and you stayed with that company. Hired. That was my goal. That's what I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believed I needed to do. So I went to work for a big corporation. Ran through all the ranks like you're supposed to do. You switch jobs every now and then to a corporation that's nationwide. And I thought it was great. I really did. I thought this is what I'm supposed to do. This is great. I'd show 8 to 5 every day, wore a tie on certain days.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was like that's going to be the perfect life. But I always felt like there was something else, right? I always thought there was something else. And one day I became a number at that corporation. And whenever there was time to get rid of people, I was one of those people that was on the block. They didn't know who I was, right? I was just a name. They didn't know who I was after 25 years of working there. It was just a name, got to go. And I left, right? I got to go. But that was probably the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. It seemed really tough at the time, but it made me go out and look at what did I want to do? Where did I want to go? And I love technology. So I started with looking at a technology company. It was in Missouri at the time, and bought into a little small technology company. We were kind of IT hands for smaller businesses that didn't have an IT shop. But the thing that I learned there was we had a reoccurring revenue stream, and I thought that's very interesting. On those slow months, those slow quarters, the revenue was still streaming in, right? Until the sales picked back up again. So reoccurring became a theme to me and something that I wanted. I thought I was going to go along really nice in that company, but life happens, and my wife got headhunted to move out here to Arizona from Missouri. So I had to give up on that job, that dream, that GM job, and follow her out here in my 50s. And trying to reinvent yourself, Jim, I'll tell you, in your 50s is very humbling, because I thought, well, now what am I going to do? I've got to do something, because I'm definitely not ready to retire. I want to keep moving. I wanted to do something that was enjoyable. I got out here, and one of the things that I found fascinating, that in Arizona, a lot of people had alarm systems in their house. I would find that out whenever a friend would ask me over, and we'd walk in the door, and he'd turn to his keypad and he'd beep in some numbers and turn off his alarm system. So I started being a little more interested in that, checking that out a little bit better, and found that the alarm system had a big technology background. They were going to be the entry point into what I call smart home automation. And what I mean by that, I'm saying, things where you can control your lights, your locks, your thermostats, your video cameras, your garage doors, your sound system, your shades, all that could be bundled with your alarm system. So I decided to dig into that a little bit further, educated myself through another company on what the alarm business actually was, and how monitoring works, and how software works, and what hardware is out there to buy and install, and started my business about 6 years ago. Newly One was basically invented up in there. It was the other thing I liked about the business, Jim, was it really is. You didn't have to go out and raise a lot of capital to get it, right? So customers basically will buy their equipment, right, and then pay a monthly service for them to be able to have 24/7 police support, right, and then be able to control their home from anywhere. They have their cell phone, right? So any place in the world that they have access to the internet, they can control their phone or control their home and look at, what the temperature was in the house. Was the water running? Do I need to shut it off? Did the shades raise? All that was controllable from them. So I fell in love with it. I fell in love with my customers, I think, more than anything, because I just love being able to protect them, for one, and their families, what mattered most, but then also give them the convenience of being able to control things at their house. I mean, I love how technology has allowed to live our lives. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. I love the technology sector, where it's going. We get in a whole nother podcast on AI and where that's going, right? And the alarm business is
it's moving fast.
The alarm company's right in the middle of it. So another reason why I like that.
Yeah.
So that's for me, the recurring revenue stream is huge. I love it. All my customers tend to love it as well. So I just try and provide the service that I think they deserve, that I think a lot of companies miss these days.
So that's the biggest point of differentiation is service. Your personal service and the extra services you can provide that a larger company can't or doesn't. So
Right.
So if you see something new, something that people can plug in, a new module for their blinds to go up and down, or something to monitor near their water heater if there's a leak or whatever it is, you're more likely to be able to turn on a dime and offer it. And so when the competition, these big companies that have 3 letters in their name, come knocking on your customer's door and say, "Hey, we'll give you, a free month and 2 free keypads or whatever," your customers say, "No, no, 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 no. Chip's our guy." And they're like, "Who's Chip?" "Well, he owns this company." And, "Oh no, but we're bigger and we're better." But why would one of your customers want to move to a lesser service?
Exactly. And they don't. They laugh, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right. I would say 40% of my customers came from a big, alarm and said, we got tired of waiting. We got tired of calling. We got tired of the runaround. Can you help? Right. And those are perfect customers for me because I can help and I do it.
Yeah.
But you're right. When new technology comes out for alarm-based home, I don't have to go train thousands and thousands of employees on how to do it and maybe get there in 6 months to a year, right? I can do it once it's available and get it out. And in fact, I get customers call me and say, "Chip, what's new? What's new out there that I can add to my house, right? What can I do?" Because they love the technology. It's exciting to them and cool to them. I mean, for me, we talk about the big corporations that are my competitors, but in the end, Jim, I mean, DIY customers are also my competitors, right?
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and buy the stuff and put it in, but you have an app for your garage, you have an app for your shade, you have an app for your thermostat. All those apps don't talk to each other, right? But you get a company that provides you one app, they all talk together, they're one app, they know what each other's doing, right? So if you're coming home at night, the system knows it's night, it knows it's you, it's going to turn on the light because it's knows you. Now you got a couple lights on in the house because you didn't have to touch anything. You just had to walk into the house. So that's what people.
Yeah. So you're not in the alarm business. You're in the home automation business, and alarms is part of it. Often the entry point. And then once you satisfy the security of the home, you're like, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, have you thought about this?" It's very popular with our customers. And this is a great time to do this because you're not the only one who offers this, which means it's validated by the industry. So people hear about it, they see it, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know who to call, who they can trust. When they're introduced to you, they're like, "Oh, okay, Chip can solve our problem." And because they know it's available. That's one good thing about an industry or industries that offer things. It educates the customer for you, the consumer for you. You don't have to educate them. They know it's available. They don't know all the details. They understand that they can have it and it's affordable, but they don't know how to implement it, and that's your job.
Correct. So I believe that for me, the most exciting part for me is after I've got the alarm in, I really, if some of them are a little hesitant about an automation, they get a little bit worried about it. I say, well, let me just put a couple light switches in for you or some smart switch here. And then you guys play with it. And then you tell me, what you think about it. Everyone I'm always called back. We want more light switches. It's like the number one thing. Everybody can control the garage. We can do all that. Those are all simple
More of
controlling.
those modules for the light switches. Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Okay. So you love
Yep.
the subscription,
Oh yeah.
um, 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 revenue business, recurring. It comes every month. I'm assuming you get
Yes.
paid,
Yep.
from your hundreds of customers.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question, and this comes to the whole beach money
Right.
idea. If the authorities came to you and said, "Hey, Chip, we are outlawing what you do. So you can no longer do home automation / alarms. You have to leave the industry. But you can do anything else you want." How would you take your subscription model and move forward? What other industries do you like out there where you can still get paid every month in and month out, from a defined group of customers that you can continue to grow? There's all kinds of them. I was just curious because I know that's what you would do, because
Right.
my business is like that. I've been doing this for 20 years, making money I get paid weekly in many cases, over and over and over again. And if I left my business, I would look for that recurring revenue. Much like a Verizon, AT&T, they get their money every month from that subscriber, right? So does Netflix.
Right.
So what would you do?
Great question. It would have to be something in the technology
Mm.
sector, right? I just love it. I mean, the convenience of it for me is just exciting. So I would look out and see what other automations or what other technology, right? It could
Mm-hmm.
be, anything for me. It could be, I mean, I said it earlier, AI. AI is out there and people are scared of AI and they're not knowing what to do with AI. AI could be another one of those things where you could just jump on the bandwagon and help people understand how AI could help make their lives easier, right? For a subscription based service. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a number, right? There's always a number that people don't mind paying monthly, right? If they feel like they're getting the service out of the monthly fee, you could pick a lot of things in a home. I mean, we're talking about home a lot, but for me, a small business owner is another person that I love to take care of. There's a lot of opportunity for them to be able to be serviced, right, in their business that a lot of people don't want to do, right? They don't know who to call. They don't know where to go to for their cameras go out, surveillance cameras go out, something happens with their network, right? Anything
Mm-hmm.
associated with we're connected everywhere we go, right? So you could get into business like that. I think for me, that's what I'd be looking for to get into business like that. But it would have to have a reoccurring structure. It would must have for me because we talked about it. I mean, if my wife and I travel a lot, we get to do a lot of things. My favorite thing to do is play golf. So golf is always based upon where we go. So if we're traveling for golf. And so the recurring revenue stream, I'm golf, right? Like it's going to be fine. Everything's going to run on its own, right? I don't have to be sitting here babysitting every day. I don't have to run out every day. I can just go play golf for a couple of weeks, right? So that for me is the reason reoccurring revenue is so important. It frees you up to do the things you want to do.
And it can, however, if you're in the maid service business, if you're in the lawn mowing business, if you're in the pool service business, cleaning pools, that is subscription as well.
It is.
Huge difference, though. You don't have leverage. You
No.
need to do the pool cleaning yourself and mowing the lawn, or hire crews to do it. Now you're in a normal, regular business, a lot of
Yep.
overhead and a lot of
Yep.
problems because people bring problems, your employees,
Yes.
your team members. And so what you do is what Jordan does, is what I do, and there's a small percentage of Americans that can do this, where they can actually sell something once and not have to worry about that every day. Every once in a while, you might have to go back and touch it. Okay.
Right.
Not every day, not even every month, maybe not even for a year, maybe longer.
Right.
And that's the key. So for people who are watching, how can they live a beach money life? Because we talked about maid service, recurring, but no. Cleaning pools, no. Doing what you do, yeah. Send out cards, yeah. What else? What else is there?
Oh man, I mean, I look around my networking group right now, right, and I
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of small entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, whatever you want to call them, that are doing various things, right? I mean, but most of them require touching, right? every day to get that reoccurring revenue stream? That's a great question, Jim. I think you cut me off guard a little bit. I don't think I could come up with something unless I go back and look, because you could pick up things you said. There's a lot of things. I mean, I even owned a golf instruction business for a while where the people were come in and get lessons, but I had to have a golf pro teaching, right? So that it sounded like a good idea at the time, but at the end of the day, too many hand touches, right? So you would have to really just do your homework. There are things out there, right? Off the top of my head, I wouldn't say, certain things are better than others, but I think you got to find something where you got the sale, you got it done, and then you think about how people would react if you didn't have to see them every day. The only one thing that I can think of, and I've always tried to talk to a couple of people on this, I think you have handyman that come out and fix things, right? Yep. But if they could get into a subscription-based product for your home, saying, for whatever amount of month, every month, if something breaks, I'm coming out. You don't have to skip anything. You tell me and I'll get out there. But, things don't break in the house all the time. But when they do, you want somebody to just show up. So if I had to pick something that was not technology, I might go back to a home-based subscription plan to keep things running in their house, because things don't always work well. Just off the top of my head.
Yep. There are a number of things people can do to get recurring revenue month after month. And sometimes it takes a huge investment up front in time. Just ask Jordan.
Yeah.
But now Jordan's rolling along and it's nice. So it can be a slow climb, and you might be living in your parents' basement for a while.
Exactly. Right.
Okay. But when you get to a certain point, all of a sudden you're a success, that overnight success that took 20 years. Right. I'll tell you one thing though, once you get a taste for the drug of a recurring revenue model, a subscription service, you can't get off it. You just aren't going to get a regular job or self-employed business. So I'll tell you another one that's really good, but it takes a while. It's very good. Is the insurance industry, because people continue to re-up on their insurance, and you get paid your commission for it. And over time, like if you've been doing it for 30 or 40 years, you can play golf all day if you want, and you can continue to grow it as you lose some through attrition. But it takes a while to get there. How long did it take for you in your current business to make a decent living? How many months or years did it take where you're like, you know what, this is respectable?
Right. It probably took half of the 6 years I've been in it. 3.
Yeah. That's about right.
Got easier after that. And, but 3 years, but just from my age, when I look back and, you think of the things that are reoccurring, and this just blows my mind when I think about, the thing that we did talk about is all the social media people that are making millions of dollars posting things online, right?
Yep.
I mean, some that I can't understand, some that I would never do, but I know it's out there, and it's probably similar to, entrepreneurs. How many people start and fail a business, right? A lot. And how many people are trying to make money on some sort of social media, whether it be TikTok or
millions, millions.
How many?
It's like being an actor in Hollywood. How many people want to be that Hollywood actor? Well, there's only so many Tom Hanks.
Right.
Most people are serving you drinks or food somewhere.
Right.
And
but they tried, right?
They tried. Yeah.
What you do is go try, give it a try, and when you get kicked in the teeth, you got to get back up, right?
Back up. Yeah. Well, you've got a great story, Chip. Thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I'm going to make sure that in the description of this podcast is a link to your website and also some contact information. So in case people wanted to reach out to you and learn more about how you've done what you've done, and maybe someone who's in your area in Arizona who needs to get a system put in their house, which is more than just a keypad and have security call you when you set it off by mistake, right? So because you offer so many great things. I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Jim, thank you for your time. I really enjoyed it. Have a great day.
You too.